Members know what this represents. Well, release the calm before the storm.
What's the storming?
Could be calm before the storm.
The Obama FBI obtained secret warrants to spy on my campaign based on a phony foreign dossier of debunked smears paid for by crooked Hillary Clinton and the DNC.
We have an army of digital soldiers. What we are now, what I call them, because this was an insurgency, folks. This was run like an insurgency. This was irregular warfare at its finest in politics.
Reporting that a former FBI lawyer will plead guilty to making a false statement in the first criminal case coming from the John Durham probe into the Russia investigation.
Today, we announced charges against Ghislaine Maxwell for helping Jeffrey Epstein sexually exploit and abuse multiple minor girls.
Our radical Democrat opponents are driven by hatred, prejudice, and rage. They want to destroy you, and they want to destroy our country as we know it. Not acceptable. It's not going to happen.
What is going on, everybody? Season Pixels here, and I'm here to bring you another StormWatch special report here on the 5x5 network. Earlier today, I didn't think there was going to be much going on in the news. It seemed like a slow news day, but boy, was I wrong. So, I don't want to waste any time. Let's just go ahead and get into this treasure trove that I've got for you guys today. First of all, we have 3 leaks of photos and video of Hunter Biden engaged in illegal drug activity and some sexual activity. So let's go ahead and read this report here from the Gateway Pundit. It's real quick. China's GTV releases videos of Hunter Biden's sex tapes while smoking crack. Now, to clarify, it says here China's GTV. And this organization has nothing to do with the Chinese Communist Party. In fact, it says in the videos that the people who are releasing these videos are enemies of the Chinese Communist Party, and they want to basically get rid of the corruption, so and prevent the CCP from taking over the world, which is their goal, worldwide communism. So just thought I'd clear that up before I go ahead and get into this stuff. This is a screenshot from the video, and I cannot share the video here on YouTube, and I'm not even comfortable sharing the video on any other platform either. But if you do want to go ahead and see the video for yourself, you can find it on Neon Revolt's page on Gab.com. So if you go to Gab.com/Neon Revolt, he's put it all up there. You might have to scroll down a bit because he posts a lot, but that's where you can find the full video that you see here. I will go ahead and summarize it because I did see the video earlier today. And of course, today is October 24th, 2020. It's a video of Hunter Biden engaged in a sex act involving someone's feet. The person in the video engaged in this sex act with Hunter is unidentified. But I think the bigger thing about this video and the more incriminating thing about this video is that he's also smoking crack cocaine in the video at the same time of doing the sex act. So, China's GTV, it says here on the Gateway Pundit, China's GTV loaded video of Joe Biden's son Hunter Biden smoking crack cocaine while engaging in sex with an unknown person. Of course, warning on content, and I will warn you, it is a very disturbing video. It may be disturbing to some people, and it's certainly a very inappropriate video, so I would shoo your kids out of the room if you're going to go ahead and watch it. The first GTV video is titled Exclusive: Hunter Biden's Sex Tapes, the CCP's BGY Infiltration in the U.S., Evil Alliance to Dominate the World. GTV announced they will be releasing more video. So, the second one to come out was this. Apparently, obtained from Hunter Biden's laptop, is what I'm hearing. GTV releases second Hunter Biden video, Hunter's stash of 4.7 grams of crack cocaine on sale. And the other thing I found interesting is if you flip this image, you can see written right here, Chateau Marmont in Los Angeles. So this was apparently in a hotel that he was doing this. Hunter Biden cracked cocaine on scale in a Los Angeles hotel. And of course, there is again the first video that came out earlier today. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the article. They announced they'd be releasing more video. The second video posted moments ago includes photos of a scale with crack cocaine. And this was included in the video, and this is good. I'm glad I scrolled down here to show you guys this. U.S., and this is a screenshot from the video that they released, and they're putting these in every one of the releases as well. U.S. presidential candidate Joe Biden is 100% controlled by the Chinese Communist Party as one of the most successful political instances of the BGY program. He is also a target of the CCP's 3F plan, which aims to fall, fail, and fell to weaken America, destroy, and kill America. And of course, they do this by blackmailing the politicians in America, or simply buying the influence of politicians in America for foreign policies that are beneficial to the CCP. The third one. Was some selfies, and I'll just glaze through this real quick. There's a selfie of him engaged in a sex act with another unknown person. And then there's another one of him doing some Anthony Weiner style photo shooting of himself, I guess is the way that I'll go ahead and put it. So, I mean, ask yourself, guys, if you're Joe Biden, right, and you're the vice president of the United States, and you're made aware that China has stuff like this on your son, and that you better play ball and make policy decisions that they tell you to make, or else they'll go ahead and release this and bury your entire family and destroy your political career for your entire life, and possibly get you in some legal trouble, what are you going to do? I think Joe Biden went ahead and obliged the CCP and played ball, right? And he engaged in tons of corruption, probably not just to stop this stuff about his son from coming out and destroying his entire family, but also we've seen in recent weeks reports about the Bidens using Hunter Biden, kowtowing him around the world, basically being used as a pawn to let foreign adversaries buy political influence from the Biden family. And that's exactly what happened. The Bidens were enriching themselves, basically using the Biden name as currency. So we're probably going to have more on this soon. This stuff literally just broke earlier today, and it's very early on, and not a ton of reporting has gone on about it, but a ton of censorship, and attempted censorship has happened with it as well. So we'll continue to report on this as it continues to develop, but I don't want to say much more about it now because it is just now breaking, and I'm going to give it a good 72 hours to kind of I guess brew or germinate or I don't know, develop further. We'll go ahead and put it that way. This next update that I've got for you guys also has to do with the Bidens, Joe Biden in particular, and it has to do with voter fraud as well. Here's a tweet from Kayleigh McEnany, and it says, Biden admits to voter fraud. Joe Biden brags about having the, quote, most extensive voter fraud organization in history. And if you can't believe me, just go ahead and listen to Biden's own words. Now, to be fair to Biden, I don't know if this is a gaffe, because we've seen a lot of those from him, or if it is a major, epic Freudian slip. Let's go ahead and take a listen to what Joe Biden says here in this clip.
Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
You heard the man. He said, "We have put together the most extensive and inclusive," I think he said, "voter fraud organization in history, in the history of American politics." Well, we know, Joe. We've been seeing indictments and arrests and reports, for instance, from Project Veritas, exposing how Democrats across this country are trying to steal the vote using voter fraud tactics, particularly mail-in voting, as a channel for fraud. They've been using this the entire time to try and steal the election and fraudulently put this corrupt man in the White House. I hope it's not going to happen. If it does, we have a big problem on our hands. And of course, the Bidens will continue to enrich their family. They will continue making horrible decisions for our country, putting our country in bad economic straits, and shipping our business off to other countries and benefiting horrible regimes like the Chinese Communist Party. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but if the voter fraud is bad enough, it will happen, and we'll have a huge problem on our hands. Thankfully, though, I think that people love President Trump so much that we will overcome whatever voter fraud they manage to go ahead and sneak through. Let's go ahead and continue on here. I've got one more update, I think, on the Hunter Biden laptop situation, and this one is a doozy. So here we have a tweet that was shared by the Sharp Edge 1 on Twitter, and it's a Lauren Witzke tweet, which I'll just go ahead and pull up here. It says, quote, "Sources close to and with deep knowledge of the investigation have informed me that Chris Coons' daughter, in addition to 7 other underage girls, are also featured on Hunter Biden's laptop." If you don't remember who Chris Coons' daughter is, or you don't know who she is, let's go ahead and give you a quick reminder. This right here is Chris Coons' daughter, and that is Chris Coons. He's a senator from Delaware, and you can see here that he has absolutely no problem with Joe Biden being completely creepy, sniffing her hair, and trying to kiss her on the temple. She looks incredibly, incredibly, incredibly uncomfortable there, and I actually really feel horrible for this child. The fact that her father is standing here with a big grin on his face speaks volumes to me as well. And now that we're finding out, and this was on Breitbart, the SiriusXM Breitbart station, now we're finding out that she is actually supposedly on this laptop. I can only imagine what she's been through, and other girls, other underage girls who have been tied up in this Hunter Biden thing and ended up on his laptop. I can only imagine what they've gone through. It's absolutely horrible. The people we're dealing with here are disgusting, depraved, freaking animals. It's hard to even call them people at this point. And it's really concerning to me because I think that this stuff that's coming out is going to take such a dark turn, and so much of the country, it's going to be so unexpected for them. But I think that it is what needs to happen. People deserve to know the truth about the elites in our country, about the political elites. People deserve to know the truth. For a long time, they've been able to get away with some of the most heinous crap I've ever heard of. And I think the only way to end their rule over our country, the only way to crush the deep state and to destroy the bureaucracy and to destroy these disgusting people is to bring the truth about who they are and what they've been up to bring that all to light. Dark to light, right? And I think that that's what we're seeing now. I think it's going to continue to roll out, and I can only hope that the American people can wake up, recognize the problem, and fix it by voting for Donald Trump. Let's go ahead and move on. So, social media, big tech, they are not happy. They are not happy at all that this stuff came out today. And in an incredibly swift fashion, they started locking the links to this information down, preventing people from sharing it, and even suspending or /banning accounts who were sharing it. Some of my posts about this stuff even got removed from my Twitter feed. So you can see here, at gnews202064 was the profile of this news website that was releasing these Hunter Biden videos and photos, and they got suspended from Twitter extremely quickly. I mean, only a couple hours after this stuff had been released. And here we have a Gateway Pundit article about the censorship of this information. Update. Twitter blocks link to TGP post on Hunter Biden smoking crack with link to foot sex video. Earlier tonight, China's GTV loaded video of Joe Biden's son Hunter Biden smoking crack cocaine while engaging in sex with an unknown person. GTV is a Chinese channel in Mandarin. Warning on content, of course. The Gateway Pundit was first to post this video, the first to be released of Hunter Biden from this laptop from hell. The Gateway Pundit did not post any photos or video of nudity or of anyone but Hunter Biden from the video. We tweeted this major story out to our audience, and there you can see the tweets. But now Twitter has blocked the tweet from its platform. And it's not just the Gateway Pundit, once again, that are getting these links blocked and their posts taken down. It seems to be anybody that is sharing this link is having the tweets taken down. And this is in the exact same fashion that they did when the initial New York Post story about Hunter Biden's laptop and the corruption he was involved in Ukraine. It's just the same exact thing that they did with that link. They are stopping people from sharing this information. And what I believe is that big tech, with this blatant political censorship, is now involved in illegal election interference. Something has to be done. And it made me so angry yesterday to see the Senate GOP put out some documentary series. Like, they're spending their time doing documentary series when they could be doing their jobs as senators and holding, or at least attempting to hold, big tech to account for, first of all, their monopolistic behavior, and second of all, their political censorship. What is going on? Something needs to be done about this political censorship. The First Amendment is under attack in our country. The internet is the new public square. And what these big tech companies are doing is essentially cutting the tongue out of anybody that says something that they don't like, that they disagree with, that they think will damage their favorite political party, the Democrat Party. I'm done watching this censorship. And I'm not worried about it, but it just angers me. And the reason I'm not worried about it is because I know the Anons, right? I know people in this movement who are smart enough and determined enough and love their country enough to spend the time and the money and the effort to put together their own platforms to share this stuff on. And it's already happening. But the fact of the matter is that most people, your run-of-the-mill people, your average Joes, your average Janeses out there, they are going to be on Twitter, they're going to be on Facebook, and they're going to be on YouTube. And to reach those people, right, to reach the masses, the voters who need this information, who need to understand the truth about these political families and what kind of garbage they're involved in, the only way to get that information to them is if people like me and people like Red Pill and people like Woke Societies and people like Methods are able to share it on the big major platforms. So that's my kind of soapbox spiel on censorship today. To see them leap on this so quickly is so telling about where their head's at. Their number one priority is not to give people a platform or to give people a voice. Their number one priority is to control exactly what kind of information you're allowed to see and what kind of information you're allowed to share. And I think it's majorly wrong. Anyways, one more thing on the censorship. If I just scroll through here, this is the Gateway Pundit on Twitter. If you scroll through, you can see this tweet's no longer available. This tweet's no longer available. And there's more. This tweet's no longer available. 2 in a row. This tweet's no longer available. So they are actively censoring information that they deem too damaging to the left. And it's absolutely disgusting. Moving forward, I just have a few more stories for you guys today. And this one's a story from the New York Post about the whole Biden corruption situation as it pertains to Hunter's emails. So let's go ahead and read this story. I thought it was excellently written, so let's just go ahead, take a seat, kick back, and listen to me narrate this article. From the New York Post today, published at 1:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by Peter Schweizer and Seamus Bruner. Long-standing claims of Biden corruption all but confirmed with Hunter's emails. Thanks to 3 brave Americans, we now know that Joe Biden has long misled the public about his involvement with his family's foreign business entanglements while he served as vice president. At considerable personal risk, former Biden family business partners Toby Bobulinski and Bevan Cooney and computer shop owner John Paul Mac Isaac have come forward with tens of thousands of primary source documents, internal corporate records, emails, text messages detailing years of business dealings that centered on trading on the Biden name. This material suggests that, despite Joe Biden's insistence that he knew nothing about his family's business deals, he was well aware of his son Hunter Biden's business ventures in China, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and elsewhere. These new troves constitute hard evidence of Biden family corruption, it sure does, and confirm our reporting dating back to our 2018 book, Secret Empires. In 2018, when we first broke the foreign influence scandals that have now engulfed the former vice president, it seemed apparent that China and Ukraine were not paying Biden's family members for their expertise, they were buying access to the vice president of the United States. This was never a scandal solely about Hunter or Joe's brothers, James and Frank. It was, and always has been, a Joe Biden scandal. For nearly 3 years, Biden and his surrogates have responded to the scandal with an increasingly unconvincing series of denials, including another from the former vice president in his last debate with President Trump. In response to quote-unquote secret empires, one of Joe Biden's aides said, quote, "We aren't going to engage on a politically motivated hit pieces." Team Biden did not bother to respond to specific allegations that the Biden family vacuumed up millions in the exact locales where Biden was Obama's policy quote-unquote point man. And the media at large, the mainstream media, and NPR as well, their defense with all of this is to just say that it's Russian disinformation, that this is Russian disinformation, blah, 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 blah. Where have we heard that before, right? Back in 2016, when it was said that Russia was colluding with Trump to win him the election. We all know what they do, guys. I don't need to sit here and tell you. You guys know. When the issue reemerged during the campaign, Team Biden continued to call it a conspiracy theory. They like to use that one too, but this time, Joe Biden firmly put himself on record, quote, "I have never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their businesses, period," he told reporters in August 2019. Quote, "I never talk with my son or my brother or anyone else in the distant family about their business interests, period." He repeated similar blanket denials on numerous occasions. These denials all proved to be untruthful, period. We now know that Joe Biden met directly with his son's Chinese business partner, Jonathan Lee, in a Chinese hotel lobby on a fateful trip in 2013. A trip that allowed Hunter to spend hours with his father, the vice president, on a transoceanic flight to Beijing aboard Air Force Two. 10 days later, Hunter landed an unprecedented $1 billion private equity deal bankrolled by the Chinese government. But this was not the only meeting Joe Biden had with Biden family business partners. As the New York Post reported, emails on Hunter Biden's hard drive reveal that on April 16th, 2015, Joe Biden met with a high-level official of a controversial Ukrainian energy company, Burisma, which had put Hunter on its board. And a recently unearthed photo shows that Vice President Biden met with Hunter's Kazakh business associate in Washington, D.C. After first dismissing the gathering scandal as a quote-unquote conspiracy theory, the Biden team shifted to the position that Joe had never talked with his family about their business dealings, then shifted again to the position that he'd never met with his family's business partners. Now, with the latest document revelations, Joe Biden unveiled his latest defense in the recent debate, quote, "I have not taken a single penny from any country whatsoever, ever." You know that statements that you make on video can be used against you in court, Mr. Joe Biden. Looking forward to that one, buddy. Team Biden points to Joe and Jill Biden's tax returns as evidence that Joe did nothing improper. It is worth noting that the family members upon whom foreign entities showered money are not required to disclose their finances. We now know the Biden paydays were anything but conspiracy theories. Hunter was getting roughly $1 million per year from Burisma. Treasury Department alerts reveal that Russian oligarch Elena Baturina wired $3.5 million to Biden's interests. New text messages reveal that China Energy Company Ltd. Apparently paid $5 million to the Biden family. Another email indicates Hunter demanded a $10 million per year fee from one of his Chinese business partners. There is no more doubt. The New York Post broke news last week that Joe Biden himself may have benefited from his son's dealings. The Post quoted a cryptic message from one of Hunter's partners saying that, quote, 10% held by H for the big guy. The recipient of that message, Tony Babulinski, says there is no question that H stands for Hunter and the big guy is Joe Biden. We gain further insight into the operations of Biden Incorporated in emails provided to us by Bevan Cooney, a former business associate of Hunter Biden. Cooney, who is currently in prison for his role in the Indian bond scheme that is sending Hunter Biden business partner Devin Archer also to jail, shared 26,000 emails that show what Hunter's role was in their business ventures. The Biden name was considered quote-unquote currency for their foreign business ventures and was a direct pipeline to the Obama-Biden administration. Deals involving Hunter benefited from the Biden Lift, the help that the name would provide in overseas dealings. What might the Biden's foreign benefactors have experienced in return for all this largesse? We can't say, but some may see a correlation between that foreign money and Joe Biden's policy posture toward the sources of that money. Consider the case of the Penn Biden Center, a DC think tank named after Joe Biden. According to the center, its mission is to, quote, address threats to the liberal international order. The center analyzes the threats of, quote-unquote, Russia and, quote-unquote, climate change in detail, but China, the largest violator of basic human rights on the planet, does not make the list. Why? Well, because they bought Joe Biden's influence through his son. Perhaps we know why. Perhaps we do. Perhaps we do know why, guys. This is serious. This is really, really serious corruption that we're dealing with here. Cut and dry. Textbook corruption. Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, and their entire family now, for that matter, are all national security threats. We cannot let this family get anywhere near the White House. Or you're going to see the Obama administration done over again, amplified by 10. Okay? So let's not let that happen. Continuing on. 2 more stories for you guys, and then I gotta skedaddle. Continuing on. Drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. This comes from Anchorage Daily News. And the title of this article is Trump issues sweeping order stripping job protections from tens of thousands of federal employees. That's right. President Donald Trump has fired his biggest broadside yet this week against a federal bureaucracy he has moved to remake with an executive order that would remove job security from an estimated tens of thousands of civil servants. The directive, issued late Wednesday, strips long-held civil service protections from employees whose work involves policymaking, allowing them to be dismissed with little cause or recourse, much like the political appointees who come and go with each administration. Now, if you guys are sick of the bureaucracy, this is good news for you. If you're sick of our gigantic, overinflated, completely messed up and corrupt government, this executive order here is going to help immensely in removing some of that power, cutting down the size of government, and getting rid of, bureaucrats who aren't beholden to the American people. I want you to pay attention to this next paragraph that I read, and then after that paragraph, I'm probably just going to go ahead and move on to the next story. Federal scientists, now think COVID when you're hearing this, guys. Federal scientists, attorneys, regulators, public health experts, and many others in senior roles would lose rights to due process and, in some cases, union representation at agencies across the government. The White House declined to say how many jobs will be swept into a class of employees with fewer civil service rights, but civil service experts and union leaders estimated anywhere from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands in a workforce of $2.1 million. Think of what this can do for lowering taxes, taking all of these unnecessary bureaucrats off the payroll of the American people and letting the American people instead keep and save that money for themselves. This is the kind of stuff that President Trump ran on, and I applaud him hugely for this move. Thank you, President Trump, for doing this. The last story before I go ahead and end this StormWatch special report is another not surprising update from the Flynn case from Judge Sullivan. This was published 1 day ago on Fox News. Flynn case judge issues unusual order telling government to certify evidence is, quote, true and correct. So Sullivan so far resisted to dismiss the case. In an unusual order posted Friday, the federal judge in the case of former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn told the Justice Department to file a declaration under penalty of perjury by Monday that evidence in the case is quote-unquote true and correct. The court order was issued after prosecutors admitted accidentally altered documents, note written by former FBI agent Peter Strzok and former FBI Director Andrew McCabe were used. So Sullivan is usually actually using the mistakes of the deep state to justify this move. Sneaky one there, Sullivan. Quote, the government has acknowledged that altered FBI records have been produced by the government and filed on the record in this case, noted Judge Emmett Sullivan. The order from Sullivan comes as the government again requested the judge dismiss the criminal case against Flynn, a move Sullivan has so far resisted. So the information, basically to summarize this, the information that the Department of Justice, that the government has been sending to the court, right, to clear General Flynn of any wrongdoing and show how he was entrapped and railroaded by the Obama administration. Now, in a spectacularly ridiculous stall move by Judge Sullivan is saying that they must reconfirm that what they've sent the court is true. This is ridiculous. This is a mockery of the United States justice system. I think when all of this is said and done, Judge Sullivan will have to be removed as a judge. He will have to be disbarred. This is ridiculous, the way that that General Flynn has been treated throughout this entire process. This case should have been dropped the moment the Department of Justice decided they were no longer pursuing charges against Flynn. The Justice Department told the court to stop this case, that they're no longer going forward with this case. And ever since then, Judge Sullivan has engaged in so many different and ridiculous efforts to run out the clock, to stop this from happening before the election. And I think it's because they don't want General Flynn to be cleared, and they don't want General Flynn to have his gag order lifted. Imagine being in the previous positions that General Flynn was in and knowing what he was ready to do to help President Trump drain the swamp and get accountability for the American people, to get justice for the American people. Knowing that if his gag order were to be lifted, imagine the information he could come forward with. Imagine the way that he could involve himself in our movement. Imagine how he could help President Trump get reelected. I believe that is the motivation of Judge Sullivan and whoever is controlling him with puppet strings. I also wonder what they have on Judge Sullivan. What do they have? How is this guy compromised? What did they have on this guy? But I think that's the reason why this is being stalled and stalled and stalled in so many ridiculous fashions. Because they simply don't want the man to be able to talk to his fellow Americans until at least after the election. And in the first place, they don't want the charges to be dropped. Because if the charges aren't dropped, if he isn't vindicated, well then that carries water for their Russia, Russia, Russia narrative. But that's pretty much all I had for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this. I tried to make it quick. I don't know how quick it is, but okay, 35 minutes. Hey, not bad, guys. 35 minutes. That's not an hour long. So I hope you enjoyed this StormWatch special report here on the 5x5 network. I'll be doing these anytime that there's a big news day and I'm able. Please, if you did like this video, give it a giant thumbs up and share it with your friends and family and on your social media. There's also many ways you can support this channel and help us keep going and, help us, buy us a beer or something, That stuff is down in the description of this video. As well, I will also be posting all the links to everything that I've gone through today. I'll be posting that down in the description of the video as well. So, with that being said, hit the like, comment down below, tell me what you thought of this video, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.